We got a top 20 matchup in Dallas this weekend. That's SMU 7-1 hosting an undefeated Pittsburgh. Obviously, we talked last week about how Pittsburgh just dismantled Syracuse 41-13.
Killed them.
SMU survives Duke in overtime. Manny Diaz going for 2. Duke doesn't get it, so they're still 7-1.
And they blocked a field goal. SMU blocked that field goal as time expired. They'd have lost.
Exactly. Right now, SMU -7.5, a full touchdown plus the hook. The over-under's 59.5. How you feeling about this one?
Well, as usual, I'm not going to sit up here and gas up SMU because I picked them to do big things. They didn't look good early, and ever since I said negative stuff about them, they've been playing really well and they've been winning. So it may be in my best self-interest to just down SMU. But when I look at this game, Pittsburgh is the Indiana of the ACC this year. You look at what Narduzzi's done there and what Signetti, sounds like, an Italian mafia meetup. But what Pitt's done, Eli Holstein, hell of a player. They've got a bunch of gamers. That pass rush has really started to come on, and you saw that affect Kyle McCord a little bit too early in that Syracuse game, even though that first pick that Kyle McCord threw, all they did was run stick, and the backer just expanded on it. I couldn't believe he threw that interception. But when I look at SMU, they survived one last weekend. And, there's those games, and we see this everywhere. Look at Texas, they survived one against Vanderbilt, where you're going on the road, and you may be playing a team that you are better than, but you don't have your best fastball that day. And Duke's done some good things. We've given Manny Diaz his due credit. But SMU survived a game in which offensively they didn't play great. The special teams blocks a field goal as time expires to win. So that belief is starting to creep in, and SMU is finding excuses to win instead of finding excuses to lose. And those teams that type of year are very dangerous. So you have two very confident teams, one in Pitt that is undefeated, whole season ahead of them. Every goal that they've wanted is still there. And the same thing for SMU. This is almost a de facto elimination game for the ACC championship when you look at Miami and you look at Clemson, who do not play each other. SMU does not play Miami, or they don't play Clemson. So that first loss is going to be massive for somebody, and somebody's got to lose this game. I'm not going to make a pick on this one yet. That's all the good things I'm going to say about SMU. Please, Rhett Lashley, our good friend, I'm not saying anything good about y'all. Use this against, for-year team or whatever. But Pitt's dangerous. I like Pitt plus the 7.5.
Do you? Really do. Oh, yeah. Well, that's what I was going to say, Blaine. What's Vegas seeing to give an undefeated Pittsburgh team a full touchdown?
I don't know.
I
don't know. And it's worrisome to me that I don't know because, there's certain things you can expect with a Pittsburgh coach football team. One, they rarely beat themselves.
Yeah.
You'll rarely watch a
Last year was an anomaly.
Team
that was an anomaly.
beat themselves. Two, man, they always just have some NFL guys running around. Every year I watch Pittsburgh, they got a couple guys on defense this year that won't be surprised if they're in the league somewhat next year, a couple guys up front. But right now with Holstein playing the way he does, and look, Syracuse is a good football team. I think we all can sit here and say that. I think we can say Duke is a good football
team. Quality football team.
This is not the same Duke team, Vandy team that we're used to seeing in college football. It's the way college football is right now. But I don't see where an SMU team that is somewhat proven, I wouldn't say proven all the way yet, is this more than a touchdown favorite, even if it's at home against a Pittsburgh team that's undefeated, that can play good defense, that can run the ball, and they have an experienced quarterback.
Well, is part of it because when you and a lot of stuff is recency bias, but you got to watch the way a team evolves, right? Are they evolving? Are they devolving? It's going to determine how they do at the end of the year. But when I go back and I watch that Syracuse game, do you think maybe Vegas is saying, look, Kyle McCord threw 3 interceptions in the first 8 minutes of that game, 2 pick sixes, right? So it buried Syracuse early, changed what they had to do, and you got to give Pittsburgh credit for that. So Pittsburgh's coming off a game where they play amazing. SMU is coming off a game where they just play okay, but they managed to win it. Is there any part of your mind, David, that thinks just saw my life flash before my eyes light, maybe why SMU is favored 6.5, 7?
I don't know. Possibly. Maybe because it's at home for SMU. I like Pittsburgh plus the 7.5. I don't think you're crazy to take a money line plus 240. I can't wait for this football game. And this is going to have big implications for the ACC. I mean, keep in mind, the winner of this game really positions themselves nicely within the conference. Obviously, Miami's still unbeaten and Clemson's still unbeaten in league play with that only loss out of conference to Georgia. But, particularly if SMU, that schedule is very manageable down the stretch. If they go ahead and win this one and remain remain undefeated in the ACC. And like you talked about, Pitt, if they win this one, they'll still play Virginia at home, they'll play Clemson at home, and then go to Louisville and go to Boston College. So, I mean, the winner of this game is going to set themselves up to possibly play in the ACC championship.
Kind of reminds you a little bit of the scenario we found Texas A&M and LSU in last week, where this becomes a humongous insurance game down the stretch.
Tiebreaker.
And pretty much a must-win if you want to put yourself in the best position to make the conference championship and therefore the college football playoff. All right, I want to get back to the chat quickly, then let's get to this rapid fire.
All right, let's go to CJ. CJ, what's up? It says, keep disrespecting SMU. Trust me, brother, I am keeping receipts.
You're the only person in sports
I picked
media
SMU
that
to
has
make the ACC championship game. What the hell are you talking? You obviously don't get the joke.
If that one happens.
I literally predicted SMU to play Miami in the ACC championship game. And believe me, even after the Nevada game, after the first week, a lot of people were hitting me up like, this prediction looks really bad. And then they lose a game, and then the prediction looked even worse. And then I started talking down to SMU, and now they're going on a generational run. So I think maybe you need to do your research there, CJ, because you kind of look like the dumb one in this scenario. Sorry, buddy.
For SMU to make the ACC championship, I mean, they either need to win all the conference games or get Clemson to have, what, 2 losses?
Just one.
A single loss, I guess, because so they won't play Clemson or Miami, right? At least Pitt plays Clemson, but not Miami. So there's no head-to-head to go with. So if they just had 1 loss in conference.
Well, if SMU...
Because if Clemson and Miami both go undefeated in conference, they're going. Based off
we need to look at the tiebreakers, though, because think about it. If, there is common opponents there, even though they don't play each other. Like, I wonder if it's like the SEC, where if there's no head-to-head, they go to your record against common opponents.
And then they go to their record.
Right?
Yes. And I think that Clemson and Miami are going to end up having a tougher strength of schedule.
Well,
Maybe it's a coin flip.
I think it depends on the... Because, again, if Clemson wins the rest of their games and SMU wins the rest of their games, your record against common opponents is going to be the same. So then you do got to go to the next one, which I need to go back and double check that. I think the SEC and the ACC are similar. Hey, YouTube, appreciate you guys hopping in. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, turn that notification bell on, and like a video or two. Doesn't take a lot of effort.